So, where were you at before you met with Scott?
Well, before I met with Scott, I had realized that coaching as a career and a way of life was certainly my path. But I knew nothing about the coaching industry. I hadn't taken any training. I wasn't really sure where to start. And I got in touch with Scott, and he was able to help me in a few coaching sessions, which then later turned into a friendship and some mentoring. He was able to help me figure out where I could take some training. He helped me stick with my training so that I can finish on time. He helped me. The biggest thing Scott's done for me is through his support and his encouragement. He's helped me to see in me what I couldn't see before. And now that I see it, it's not anything I'll ever take my eye off again. And I have Scott to thank for that. So, thank you, Scott, for your part in what I'm going to go out there and do. I'll always remember the start I got and the role that you played in that, so thank you.
We heard a little bit about Kelly's journey already and his hero's journey. And Kelly, can you describe a little bit more just in detail, like where were you at on your journey when you first came to me for coaching?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Where I was at on my journey was still trying to find that one thing, and was dealing with a lifetime of feeling like I was faking it, that I didn't really know what I was doing, and that one day soon, everybody around me who knew me was going to catch on, and kind of like, he doesn't know what he's doing. And really struggled to kind of understand or even see the value that I brought just through the career choices I had made once I'd left acting. Wasn't aware that I had sort of got myself into a career area that really valued someone like Travis, someone who's good with numbers, analysis, tracking data, that kind of stuff, and was floundering, was not feeling fulfilled or even really good about myself, because I felt like it was me. Like I can't get this stuff, and so it's me, and I'm not contributing, and that doesn't feel good about me. That's where I was at.
Right on. Cool. So in that journey, you were still, employed and doing all that other stuff. So what are some of the highlights of, some of the time? Because we've actually shifted our coaching into more like a mentoring and partnership type relationship, right? And I have seen you grow incredibly in the time, like really. And part of it is just that stepping in that you've done. But what are some of the highlights of what you've experienced through the coaching and mentoring process?
Well, without a doubt, it would be the way, Scott, that you kept reflecting back to me, that I'm valuable, right? That I have talents, that I'm awesome, and that I'm going places, right? Until Scott had actually said that kind of stuff out loud, I don't even know if I really had registered hearing it before. Certainly not for myself. And then the other one, the big one, obviously was earlier this year in April. Scott gifted me with a complimentary ticket down to a 4-day coaching workshop training with Ted McGrath. And I had already begun my training as a coach, and this workshop was it was supposed to be about what I thought was kind of the business side of coaching. But it turned out to be 4 days of the most radically transformational work I've ever done. And Scott had offered me a similar ticket the year before. And I wasn't able to commit to it. I was more willing to say, I can't afford it, I don't have the time, you know, I'm not prepared to leave my wife behind for that many days with 2 young kids. These aren't the right shoes for that. That kind of stuff. And then he offered it to me again. And finally I said, okay, all right. And I said okay for 2 reasons. One, I said okay because I could see some space for me actually making this work. My kids are a little bit older. But 2, I said yes because I was like, dang, the guy keeps asking. And I keep turning him down. And that doesn't feel right for me. You know what I mean? And not in terms of like, I'm letting Scott down. But it was more in terms of like, the guy keeps inviting me into this bigger world and I keep saying no. Why do I keep saying no? So finally I said yes. And I said to Scott and several other of my friends when I got back, I was not the same man who went down to San Diego who returned. And that was really the ramp up for the transformation that you've witnessed as well.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome. So cool.
I remember very clearly from our first coaching session how it was such a paradigm shift for me to be in a conversation with someone who cares enough about you that they don't care. And what I mean by that is I'd never had an opportunity to speak with somebody about the things that were on my mind, about the things that were in my heart that I was struggling with, and just have them be okay with it. And just have that be a space free of judgment. And that, I think, is one of the powers of your coaching approach, Scott. And the other thing is just relentless you're relentless in affirming people. I mean, you still do it every time we talk, right? And it's so welcome, and it's so helpful to see your own greatness reflected in someone else's way of knowing you, and you know, that's been huge for me to have my own greatness reflected by you, and that has gone, I think more than anything else, that has gone the deepest for me. Because it's like, as much as we like to think that we're individuals and we chart our own course and we're independent and all that kind of stuff, that's true to a certain extent, but you can't escape, I think, the way human beings are made. And we're made to, we need each other.
Yeah, we do.
We need each other. And there's no getting away from that. And when a person can find the courage to open themselves up and allow themselves to receive from someone else, there's all manner of support and nurturance and nourishment that can happen, right? Nourishment of your own self, just from being willing to receive from someone who's reflecting your greatness to you. I think early on we recognized a bit of a kindred flame there, and it even led us to being partners somewhat, or me being there as sort of a help for you for one of your very first, I think, retreat that you had planned.
Yeah, that's right.
Purpose and Abundance Retreat.
Woohoo!
Yeah, that was a real watershed moment for both of us, I think.
Yeah, that was great.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, I just, there's just been moments, through the years where, you have a conversation with someone where, there's just so much head nodding going on. I mean, you're doing it right now.
Yeah, man.
You just nod your head and you're like, I'm totally picking up what you're saying. And I've always thought of it as two matches, right? Like you light one match and it's a flame, you light the other match and it's a flame, but you put the two of them together and you've got a brighter light, right? And that's the metaphor that I've always used for the friendship that I've struck up with you. And when you put two lights together, you end up with a brighter light. And so it's no wonder that through the years that there's just been that camaraderie. There's been that mutual perspectives that are complementary, right? So I mean, you and I don't see everything exactly the same. And thank goodness for that, right? Because we can learn from each other as we go through life, and we share our own unique perspective on things, and that helps broaden each of our perspectives, right? So if you imagine the two of us standing around a tall building, you're standing on the north side and I'm standing on the south side. Well, I can tell you everything you want to know about what the south side of that building looks like, but I know nothing about the north side of that building.
Yeah.
Whereas you can tell me everything about the north side of that building and you know nothing of the south side. So when we get together and talk about, what does this building look like? Well, I can tell you about this side and you can tell me about the other side. And now I've got two sides of that puzzle that I can see rather than just one. And so it's expansive.